most admirable chasers you could possibly wish to see.
Welcome to the Race Hour podcast in association with Bet365, the home of the position payout. This is Not Long Now, the show where we take an anti-post look at next month's Cheltenham Festival. I'm Rory Jiwani, with me, racing broadcaster Ed Quigley, Bet365 racing PR legend Pat Cooney, and Gambling.com aficionado Gary Connolly is with us this week. Great to have you back, Gary. If you caught last week's show, you'll know that Bet365 are non-runner, no bet for all 28 races at this year's Cheltenham Festival. Now, the theme of this episode is bankers and blowouts. We'll start with the bankers. I'm going to go to the three of you in turn, and you can give me your three bankers for the festival. And if you just give me the names, and once all three of you are done, we'll discuss them all in a bit more detail. Ed, we'll start with you. What are your three festival bankers?
We're going to go Narcisco Has in the Triumph Hurdle. Going for Honesty Policy in the Stayers, and then the Cliff Horse of all Cliff Horses, but Jaguar in the Ultimate, up to 3 miles for the first time. Something I've been saying since the Battle of Agincourt. This horse needs 3 miles. So look, if he can't win here, then that's it. He's gone. He's struck off. But yeah, I do think Jaguar up to 3 miles will take a lot of beating.
There we go. Gary, your three Cheltenham Festival bankers, please.
Okay, I'm going with Lossiemouth to win the Mares, Narcisco Has in the Triumph, and Wonderwall to retain the Hunter Chase.
There we go. And finally, Pat, your three bankers for Cheltenham.
Okay, Triumph Hurdle, Narciso Has. In the Festival Juvenile Handicap Hurdle, Saratoga. And the National Hunt Chase, the Wall Park.
Okay. Only one place to start. All three of you in agreement on the Triumph. Narciso Has for Willie Mullins in the colours of JP McManus. He was beaten by Gordon Elliott's Mange 2 at Fairyhouse in November, but reversed the form at the Dublin Racing Festival. He fairly dotted up at Leopardstown over Christmas between those runs. 6-4 favourite for the Triumph. It's 6-1 bar those. Pat, first of all, has he been popular with the punters?
Absolutely. He came with a tall reputation and a big price tag, didn't he? So he was never a fancy price. He was one of those always at the head of the market. And he ran okay on his debut, but he comprehensively reversed the form next time. And he's just got better and better and better. And, you know, he looks by far the one to beat. And when even opposing trainers like Gordon Elliott are saying, I don't think we'll beat him, but we'll give it a go anyway, you're thinking, well, this horse must be pretty good. I actually thought fleetingly when he won last time out, he wouldn't look out of place in the Champion Hurdle, never mind the Triumph Hurdle. It reminds me of a few years ago of JP's called Sir Eric, who looked the dominant juvenile hurdler of his time. Sadly, he had a bad injury during that Triumph Hurdle, but I think he was all the rage that day, and we all went to that race thinking, yeah, I suppose he'll win, and he might just be the horse for next year as well. And this feels looks the same again, really. I'm struggling to come up with a UK opponent to him, and he's the best in Ireland anyway. I think he'll be very short on the day, and I just find him, out of all the shorties, he's the one to me that I'd rather be with than against.
Yeah, Ed, Narciso Has
and much more than that.
Beat,
no, I mean, the Triumph Hurdle is normally like the last place I go to, and a 6-4 shot is normally the last place I go to. But mate, just keep going through that race, and we have got the Adonis still to kind of play out, which can often throw up a half decent horse. But challengers look thin on the ground, don't they? I mean, maybe Proactive in the green and gold, maybe his biggest danger, I suppose. But yeah, it's interesting to see Pat's gone full green and gold scarf, hasn't he, for his bankers here? So, yeah, look forward to those. But look, I can't add a lot more than that. I think he's the worthy favourite. He's the form choice. He's a bit of a brute of an individual. If you saw him in the paddock compared to a few others, there's a bit of scope about him as well as a turn of foot. He's won on heavy. He's won on what the Irish call yielding. He's on a livelier surface. He's done it as well. I just think he's going to relish that hill, though, isn't he? That's the one thing. When he hits that hill, he's just going to go up it. I don't think there's any kind of danger there. There's a few others in here I think could potentially be a bit flaky. So, yeah, form choice, favourite, unoriginal in a sense, but one they've all got to beat, in my view.
Gary, you think the same? I mean, we had 100-1 winner of the Triumph last year.
Never jumped a hurdle, Can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
The lads have covered it. So all of the above. The only thing I would say, I think Proactive is gone Supreme. I don't think he'll run here. If he did now, I'd say give him a right race. He's a serious horse, but I think they'll send him Supreme, and that just leaves the door wide open here. So, and he's just uncomplicated. They'll gun him off in front and take a real good one to pass him.
So there we go. That's the case for Narciso Haas. A unanimous choice from the panel. Pat, we'll go to you next because you've got another juvenile hurdler in your three. Saratoga in the, I'm going to call it the Fred Winter. The sponsorship, the sponsorship is, Halgartum and Novum Wines Juvenile Handicap Hurdle. That's a bit of a mouthful. Saratoga, still a maiden over hurdles, was rated as high as 93 on the flat for Aidan O'Brien, 5-1 second favourite with Bet365. But you're confident, Pat?
Yeah, I just think, Rory, we've seen this film before, haven't we, where JP gets a good horse off the flat, a decent horse as well, ran in group races, and let's see how he gets on over hurdles. Well, he didn't jump very well first time out, but showed a load of promise. We know he's mega talented. And then the second run was even better. Again, a few jumping errors along the way. But last time in defeat, I thought he could even have won the race, really, but he certainly jumped a whole lot better. It was a very likeable run. So the jumping's improved. I don't suppose he'll be too badly handicapped. And it just looks as though he could be one of those horses. You compare the flat handicap rating on the day to the hurdle rating on the day, and you think, God, this horse could be very well in. I know there's a couple of other plops going to be lying in wait for me that day in that race, but out of all of them, I think he's the one who could really be the dot on the handicap in the race.
Gary, any thoughts on Saratoga?
It's just too obvious, I think, is the only thing that put me off. I like the run that Charles Boards is winning behind in that nice race. I think he was getting handicapped off Saratoga, perhaps, in that race. But it's the only thing is he seems too obvious. It looks like the ultimate plot job. He's got to be banged there. Stable at previous with it as well. So, I won't be against him too much, to be honest.
And Ed,
I just love Pat's bravery, napping the Fred Winter. I probably won't know the winner of the Fred Winter after they've crossed the line, let alone a month in advance. But no, fair play. Yeah, real eye-catching run last time out. They were split, of course, weren't they, across the track? You could see there was a little bit of kind of chess going on in the closing stages there. And I think Connection's very happy with how that played out in Ace. So, well, of course, incidentally, isn't it, that race has produced 4 of the last 8 Fred Winter winners, if I'm not mistaken, or 7 along those lines. So it's very much a very good guide to Presbury Park Glory. That I think they actually on social media calling it the Fred Winter Trial, almost jokingly. But I could totally see the angle, and it's be interested to see if there's a big plunge on the day.
Okay, let's move on. Ed, your second pick was Honesty Policy in the Stayers Hurdle, who's been very popular on this show. 130 second favourite. He did swerve the Boyne Hurdle at the weekend, testing ground at Navan. So that's just the one run this season. Third in the long walk behind Impostoir and Strong Leader. That doesn't scream a festival winner, but you're keeping the faith, Ed.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't mind the fresh prep for the Gordon Elliott horse. He's done it loads of times in the past. I was actually looking back through Gordon Elliott. Tahupu, when he won the Stayers, he didn't run in the calendar year. When Galvin won the National Hunt Chase, he didn't run from October the previous year. He's done it with quite a few going through the list. He seems to be very good getting the horses to peak for the day. And he's not the biggest of individuals either. And I was listening to Gordon Elliott's reasoning saying the last thing he wants to do is run him through an absolute Amazonian swamp a month before the festival. He's not the most big and robust of individuals. So I think him going there fresh will be fine. And it's also just, I'm starting to hear the preview circuits. Oh, it's going to be a bit of a shock to him. He's suddenly going to be around Cheltenham in a 20-runner field and all this. Well, you name me, who's going to line up? I mean, he's going to have Tahupu. You've got Honesty Policy. Bob Ollinger's 16 years old. You've got Mashantu who's going to run. And then after that, I'm struggling to actually name a runner in the Stayers Hurdle. I'm not joking. Cabral de Matan is potentially going Rendlesham then Aintree. Ballyburn, who knows, probably won't stay. Positoir was sub last time out, lukewarm on that. Yellow Clay's been nominated to go elsewhere, and then you into 12-year-old Hewick. So all this about huge field, this could be a 6-7 runner stayers, where he's going to have his stablemate to beat, in my opinion. And he's just got a lot of upside honesty policy in the sense of he's young, he's improving, and we've touched on in previous shows. For all that, Tehupo is a very good yardstick. He's not an invincible yardstick. He has lost 2 of the last 3 times he's running this race. Just like the younger legs to go past him. Now, to play devil's advocate, you could argue Impositoire has let the form down from Ascot to some extent, but don't forget, Impositoire had already had 2 starts and was absolutely teak race fit at Ascot before Christmas. Honesty policy, very much seasonal reappearance, and I thought ridden with that in mind and did make up a lot of ground from the back of the last and really hit the line full of running. I just think he looks absolutely tailor-made for the new course at Cheltenham. For all that I accept, he's got no form at Cheltenham. He just looks a relentless galloper, and I think it's a match between the 2 Gordon Elliott horses, and I'll just take the younger legs to prevail.
Okay, I think we've covered honesty policy enough previously, so we'll move on. Gary, your first pick. Lossiemouth in the Mayor's Hurdle. Obviously, she was beaten by Brighter Days Ahead in the DRF, so the champion hurdle's out. Wadhu would be her nearest rival. Actually, last week, these two thought Wadhu might have a chance. It's 11-10 on Lossiemouth, 7-4 Wadhu. Shake of the head from Gary. Go on then. Explain why your team Lossiemouth.
Well, you don't get bars named after you in Cheltenham for coming place in the champion hurdle. So that's why she's not got there. Like, she's already slapped Wadhu out of the way in Aintree. She's just a better mare. It's simple as that. There's no way she's got to turn that form around. She's an out-and-out 2-miler, loves it around this course. She is an absolute certainty against this field. It's a dross field. Wood is the only one that'll put it up to her, and even then, she'll give her a race down to the last, and then the grey will say, "See you later, love." And that's win number 3 in the mares. 2 more, Eco Quavega, and she has a little bar named after her in Cheltenham in a couple of years' time. Easy game.
I mean, we did touch on this last week. I mean, I think these two were thinking that Wadhu's improved since Aintree and Lossiemouth hasn't. And what do you think, Gary? Do you think she's a better horse this year?
Wadhu, yeah, she probably is a better horse, but like that was a Mickey Mouse race she won in the UK. I pay no attention to that. Lossiemouth's just better than her. She's solid. Like, she still ran a good race. Better Days Ahead is somewhere over 2 miles around Leopardstown. And she wasn't beat all that far for her. She's going to improve the step up and trip. It's just like, she's just better. There's no way to dread. She's just a better mare. And even if she does improve, I think she'll still be a better mare than that. So, yeah, it's fairly straightforward, this one, I think.
Okay. We'll stick with you, Gary. Your final banker is Wonderwall in the Hunter's Chase. Trained by Sam Curling, defending champion from 12 months ago, sent off at 28-1. Won't be that price this time. 1 run this season in a point-to-point at Dromerhane. 9-2 favourite with Bet365. You're very confident of a repeat, Gary.
Yeah, Sam Curling. He's an absolute genius in the point-to-point field. It's probably refreshing to see an actual point-to-point trainer having a decent one that's been aimed for this race. Like, as you said, he scored in Dromerhane in November. He just doesn't like winter ground. That's the issue. I wouldn't have any worries about him going there fresh. Same sort of prep as last year. Next in the bet is what it's on the line. I wouldn't trust him to go to shot for a point of milk for me. Like, he's so just cross him out. He's Wonderwall 7-2. Once the ground's good, if the ground came up soft, heavy, I might have a rethink. But good ground, Wonderwall. He's like plenty to like about him. He hasn't been beat since he moved to Sam Curling. And I liked that run last year. It's very gutsy. He could have chucked it up the hill, but he stuck it out well. And I think he's coming here fresh. He's been aimed at this all season, and hopefully gets his ground. He's the one to beat again.
Ed, you're not averse to a punt on the Hunter's Chase, are you?
I don't know where I'm going with the Hunter's Chase. Absolutely, absolutely no idea what's going on with the Hunter's Chase. I'm not going to lie.
And Pat, any lively money for the Hunter's Chase? Is that a sort of race where you get some shrewd inside info from connections?
Yeah, sometimes you get, it hasn't happened this time around, but sometimes you get a horse and you think, didn't he used to be the horse that ran in grade ones? And you think, oh, well, yeah, okay. So it's a bit like, there's a bit of a memory jogger really, but it's not a race that's high turnover. I suppose as was a little bit like Gary, no better place to start than the defending champion. I suppose he's in good hands. He's sure to go a favourite. And, I suppose he's the one that will have to beat. I would imagine it'll be a big field, though. It's tending to be that way these times.
Certainly is. Now, Ed, Jaguar. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come on. I mean, yeah, he won the plate last year.
Yep.
2 narrow defeats at Cheltenham this
Yep.
season. As you said, he's going up in trip for the Ultima. 9-2 favourite with Bet365. But aren't you a bit worried that he hasn't got his head in front yet this campaign?
No. I think you've highlighted the positives. Yeah, form figures at Cheltenham, 1-1, 2 and a 3, and the 2 being beating a nose last time out, trying to give £17 to Donegal, who's clearly well handicapped. But he's just been screaming 3 miles. I mean, if you look back at the stable tour back in October, and the Green Guerrero team were very much, well, we'll keep him at 2.5 for now, but we think we've got a few pounds up his sleeve once he goes to 3 miles. Now, obviously, they're saving it. Didn't want to show the hand too early, and they're saving it for the festival. Now, I actually thought they'd made an absolute mess of things last time out and gone and blown his handicap into smithereens by that run against Donegal. Obviously, they pulled an absolute mile clear of the third, and I thought, right, he's going to get £6 or £7 of this and be up for like 158, and then they're going to have to go Ryanair or something like that. He only got £3. He's off 152. I actually still think the scope there that he can be a lot better than that. If he's doing what he's doing because of 2.5 miles, in spite of 2.5 miles, I think once he goes to 3 miles 1, isn't it? I just think he looks a relentless galloper these days. He just doesn't have that turn of foot. Straightforward assignment. I think he'll be ridden fairly promptly in 4th or 5th. Over 2.5, he's jumping slightly, come under pressure, and he can't quicken, but he does gallop all the way up the hill. And said he's giving away lumps of weight to, was he £20 back to the third last time out? He's a huge strapping horse. I'm not worried about that. I just think this is the race for him. I would, in an ideal world, I agree. I'd almost rather he hadn't have won last time out, run last time out and saved that extra £3 up his sleeve. But I still think he's got room for improvement going north of 3 miles for the first time. So, Jaguar for me. If he can, as I said, if he can't get the job done there, then I don't see when he will. If you see what I'm saying. So, we've got a lot of green and gold going on this panel, haven't we? But Jaguar in the Ultima.
Yeah, Pat, I seem to remember Jaguar being really popular for races earlier this season. I think one time the Paddy Power, he was a non-runner actually, and he was going to be favourite but got pulled out because of the ground. Have you seen much money for him already? He'll probably be a big punt on the day as well, won't he?
Yeah, I think we've all got our tin hats on in the bookmaking industry thinking, well, we know we're going to lay him. Let's not build up a big head of steam with him. He is going to be so popular on the day. I do think, I have a suspicion he's going to be in my tracker for the next 2 or 3 seasons, whatever happens. And he's one of those horses, I keep giving him the benefit of the doubt. And maybe if he gets beat over the 3, I think, okay, they might put cheap pieces or something on it next time. I think he should have won both races this year. I think he's very well handicapped. And I'll probably fall for him again. But at some point, the honeymoon will be over.
Gary, is he one for you or one to avoid, Jaguar?
He's a bit of a dog, isn't he? I think that'd be my impression. I wouldn't be. You'd rather see him around Shelbourne Park than Cheltenham. I think I won't back him. I won't back him now, to be honest. I think he's inclined. He could chuck it in for you. Like, he is well handicapped, but I think he keeps a bit for himself, to be honest. So he won't be carrying my cash.
Yeah, I have to say that's slightly the impression I've got of him this season, but the stepping up in trip could prove us wrong there, Gary, and Ed is certainly hoping so. We are going to move on to Pat's final banker, which was the Wall Park in the National Hunt Chase. 5 runs this season.
Yeah.
Hasn't won. Best of second last time out. That was at the weekend, just gone actually, at Navan in the 10-up novice chase on very testing ground. He's the 5-1 favourite. He's also prominent in the Ultima market, which we just discussed. Why does he win this, Pat?
Well, I just can't get away from the fact that he was third in the Stayers Hurdle last year, and if they'd stayed hurdling with him, he would be very much in the equation for that once again. But they went novice chasing, and again, you couldn't find him with a radar really in the first race. But he was last, detached, and plodded on past a few. I just keep thinking they've given him the experience to get accustomed to fences, and at some point he was going to show he's actually a decent horse, and he has still got it. And when he ran over the weekend, admittedly there were only 4 runners, but they were the winners very, very good. And he was just noted staying on very tidily up the running. And I just think from a handicap point of view, it's a little bit like Saratoga comparing his flat to hurdle. The Woolpark, you look at his hurdle rating to his jumps rating, and you're going to say, God, he is very well handicapped. And he's a winner waiting to happen, isn't he? And knowing how the connections like to play the game, he's going to be at his best at the Cheltenham Festival. I'm presuming it's going to be the National Hunt Chase. I think the connections have got other runners in other races. But wherever he goes, whenever you see what you deem to be the right money for this horse, I think it's going to be all guns blazing. And I've got to be thinking it must be at Cheltenham. And that run last time out, again, I'm left with the impression he's much better than that, and he's going to go into the race extremely well handicapped. So I'm going to keep the faith. Forget the form figures, Rory. Forget how far he was beaten. Judge him on what he's about to do rather than what he has done.
And I can see plenty of nods in agreement from the other two.
There's a really salient point here. I totally agree with Pat in the sense of if he runs a National Hunt Chase, he'd be my nap on day one. He's been dropped to 142. Now, the ceiling for the Kim Muir and the National Hunt Chase is 145. So you can't get any more than £3 from the British handicapper hike. Otherwise, he's ruled out of both those races. Hence why the Ultimate will come into play. If he gets given 146, that's the only race at the festival he's eligible for. See what I'm saying? So the general vibes over the previous years is most of the Irish horses have had a £3 to £4, sometimes £5 hike from the handicapper coming over. So it's going to be absolute squeaky bum time. Gordon Elliott has mentioned if they're not happy with the handicap mark, they could save him for the Irish National. So it's just a lot of stuff to bear in mind here. It's going to be, when's it? The handicap weight's 27th of Feb. I'll tell you, there's going to be some, he's going to be into about even money for the National Hunt Chase if he gets given 144, 145, isn't he? But I do agree. He's 155 over hurdles. He's £13 well in. The last horse I remember of a similar ilk who did this, funny enough, was in the green and gold, was a horse called Wichita Lineman, who was, I think, 156 rated hurdler, went novice chasing, and I think he might have won the Ultimate off 142, the same mark the Woolparks, and I'm doing that totally off the top of my head. But essentially...
Was that the one when McCoy
exactly,
picked him up
against Maljamar. But the point he could do that is because he had a stone in hand on his kind of... He was an Albert Bartlett when he was a Grade 1 winning hurdler running off a stone lower mark, and even though he jumped like a snooker table through every fence, he was so well handicapped and got a ride of the century from McCoy, got away with it. So, yeah, if the Woolpark gets in to the National Hunt Chase and they go that route, he'll be absolutely smashed up. I mean, I was looking at 5-6 to 1 now. He could easily go off 9 to 4 or something silly like that because he officially has a stone in hand based on his hurdles mark.
Gary, you think similar?
I know we're talking about bankers. The biggest banker is this horse has no chance of being. He's not going to get his. He won't let him into either of those races. There's no chance he gets into Kim Muir or the National Hunt.
He'll stay for the Irish National, won't he? I think
he'll stay for the Irish National. Yeah, the carry on they've done with this horse this season is a disgrace. So it serves him right for it. But I'd be amazed. If the UK handicapper lets this fella.
Oh, it'd be brilliant money. Just if he gets given 145, it'd just be
absolute Twitter meltdown. I think it's long odds on he won't get into the National Hunt or the Kim Muir. And I don't think they'll go Ultimate. I think they'll keep him back for the Irish National level.
There you go. Of course.
If he does somehow get his mark, he's a certainty. He's an absolute small certainty. Yeah.
Well, if you do like him, of course, Bet365 are non-runner, no bet, so you could go for it. You can get stuck in now and hope the UK handicapper is feeling generous, but Gary suspects not. That's the bankers looked at. We're running a bit short on time. We're going to go on to the blowouts. Gary, you first. Just 3 blowouts. Just give us your blowouts. We'll discuss them a little bit afterwards. So, Gary, your 3 blowouts for the festival.
Okay. First 2 races, All Park Star won't win, La Malamba won't win, and then no drama this end won't win.
Pat, your 3 blowouts.
Yeah, I'm going for it on day 1. Old Park Star, Lulamba, and Brighter Days Ahead.
Ed, your 3 blowouts.
Nicky Henderson, he has 87 festival winners. No, my 3 blowouts. Where are we going? Brighter Days Ahead at Cheltenham. This is Leopardstown. I agree with Gary. No drama this end. We've seen this movie before. Another one of Gary's favourite horses, Final Demand. Is still favourite to win the race. Jumped like a lead balloon last time out, and the form looks diddly squat. So they're my 3 I'm taking on.
Yeah, again, quite a bit of agreement in these lists. No love for Nicky Henderson, as you were saying. Was it 87?
I made that up.
However many.
I'm totally in disagreement there. I think that they could both win off the track, those 2 horses. But anyway, yeah, it's
well, okay. Well, he's the 15-8 favourite for the Supreme Old Park Star. Gary, tell us why he doesn't win the opening race of the festival.
He's just a pure hype horse, isn't he? He's very flat average rating. I don't know how he came up with that. Hurricane Pat didn't run his race. Time was brutal. To put the time in perspective, my daddy Paddy was nearly 4 seconds quicker over the same course and distance, similar ground. They've just latched on to Henderson here. It's his only entry now and stuff like that. But I think this is a decent race. There's plenty to take him on with, and he's priced pure on hype, not substance, so can't have him.
Pat, yeah, you're also against Old Park Star. Are the punters? Tell us why you were against him, and what are the punters made of him?
Well, he's been popular ever since that Haydock win last time out. I've always thought, Rory, that prices dictate opinions, and this horse is less than 2 to 1, and that doesn't sound to me like the bargain of the century by any means. Like Ed, yeah, I can see him win, but 2 to 1, no thank you. You've got to be a real talent-packed horse. No dominant Irish runner necessarily, but you played the tape over Christmas, the Romeo Coolio, just prior to him coming down at the last. There's others in the race, Joseph O'Brien's. It's a deep old field, this, and as I say, if prices dictate opinions, I've got to be no thank you at 2 to 1.
Romeo Coolio, that's Arkle, and that's Lulamba, isn't it? But,
yeah.
I mean, there's similar logic for Lulamba because he's
the other one.
You're both against Lulamba as well, so. Why? I mean, and obviously these are 2 races where the Irish have dominated, the Supreme and the Arkle. But yeah, okay, Gary's logic on Old Park Star, not impressed by the time. I mean, Ed, you like Old Park Star, don't you?
I think my 2 reader field for this for a long time been Old Park Star, and I'll let Pat take the glory on the horse later. Yeah, we know who that is, but I think he's a worthy favourite, and I thought the important point is there's no Willie Mullins, Rich Ritchie, 4-6 Duvan Votor in here, is there? You've got Al Claros, as I said, should be running at Chester. He jumps like a vending machine. He won a maiden hurdle last time out, and then I think Joseph O'Brien's horse is worthy plenty of respect. And yeah, there are naturally going to be others in here. They're unexposed horses. It's a Supreme, isn't it? But I mean, come on, yeah, he's got Cheltenham form. He's just he's stubbed everything the last 2 times. I think he's going to be tough to beat, Old Park Star, but then he's favourite. So yeah, game of opinions. But yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, Lulamba, Gary, why so negative about the mare?
Not a 2-miler, can't jump. Then there's plenty of opposition in here. There's a couple of speedy types. Carjesi and Irish Panther, they're speedy sorts over this sort of trip. They'll put us jumping under pressure. From what I'm hearing, the Jungle Drums are beating about Kopek the board, so I actually think he might go off favourite here. From what I'm hearing, just Lelamba's not a 2-miler. He doesn't jump like a 2-miler. He has an engine, but I just think he's got to be left. He's been taken off his feet at some stage here, and he'll be left too far behind by the speedier types. Can't have him.
Yeah. Sorry, I said Lulamba the mare. Gelding, of course. Pat, similar vibes for you about Lulamba?
Yeah, well, I was at Newbury when
maybe not his trip.
Yeah, I was at Newbury when he won over the weekend, and just about everyone I spoke to was nonplussed by the performance. And I was thinking, oh, wait a minute, he has beaten experienced older horses in a race that, there's normally won by a good horse in the past. But then you watch the race again, he was hard work, wasn't he, for the first 2 or 3 fences? If you get Kopech the ball bowling along in the lead and jumping brilliantly, well, remains to be seen whether he'll do that or not. But there's loads of speed in the race. He could just be taken off his feet early on. And I do remember Nicky Henderson saying, can't wait to run him over further when he goes over fences. Well, that'll have to happen next season. I just think the 2 miles, he's one of those in running, isn't he? If he's bang there at the top of the hill, 4 out, and he's travelling sweetly, yeah, game on. But I do think if you're a backer of Lou Lambert, again, at prices, you just got to hope he gets over the first couple in good shape. He doesn't jump fluently as of yet. No doubt he'll be well schooled. It just doesn't have that many pluses, really, to justify his price at the moment to be a bet.
Let's move on quickly. Champion Hurdle. Ed and Pat both had brighter days ahead as a blowout. She's a 5-2 second best behind the New Lion, 9-4 favourite. Ed, explain why.
I don't want to back her at 5-2 with a Cheltenham form. Quite simple as that. I've heard all going into last year's Champion Hurdle, she was working the house down. 5 minutes after, well, we knew she wasn't right, etc. Golden Ace has beaten her twice. I just don't think this is not Leopardstown. Anywhere else, clearly, she's kind of the, maybe too early to call her like the beef or salmon of the herding world, but for whatever reason, she just seems to lose a little bit of her sparkle when she comes across the sea. She's a brilliant mare. Just not for me at 5-2 in a Champion Hurdle, where I think there's plenty of others that could serve it up to her. And I mean, not even just Golden Ace has beaten her twice quite convincingly, and she's triple the price. So, not for me at the price.
Yeah, Pat, it's a pretty confusing Champion Hurdle market. It's moved so much. Obviously, we had Sergino, unfortunately, getting injured. We had Lossiemouth now out. What have the punters made of this market?
Well, this is really a low-key Champion Hurdle. I don't think the punters have got involved in this race at all. We're still playing Lossiemouth bingo, aren't we? But I do look at the Champion Hurdle betting at the moment. Out of them all, I did think Brighter Days Ahead was the one in the race at the top end of the market that was entirely likely that wouldn't run to 100%. I thought the others would turn up and they might be good enough to win a moderate-looking Champion Hurdle this time around. She's going to have to be at 100% to win it. And there's no guarantees about that. Just from what Ed said, she did disappoint last year. I see connections are saying they might try something different with her, maybe stabling her away from the track this time around. So, she is a head scratcher. And on that basis, I think she's opposable at current prices.
Absolutely. We'll move on to the Turners because we've got Ed and Gary both against 7-2 favourite No Drama this end. Paul Nicholls never winning the race. Gary, why is he not going to break his duck? And what wins it?
Yeah, he's sort of just fat by default. I think he needs soft heavy to be seen at his best, and I think he's just going to be found out by some speedier types. Bit similar to Final Le Mans type last year, and there's plenty in this field. I think this could be a deep field the way once the entries come in. Who I'd probably like Ballyfad. I liked his race last time at Leopardstown. I'd say Jack Kennedy would want that back again. I thought there's a lot to like about that performance, and he'd be carrying my cash in this race.
One blowout to look at. It's Ed's final one, Final Demand in the Brown Advisory. As he said, he was well beaten at the DRF, as predicted by Gary on here. And he's still the 7-2 favourite. How is he still the favourite? Can you?
I don't. It's just you get horses, don't you? That just for whatever reason, just have that invincible kind of aura about them. I was trying to think off the top of my head, but I couldn't. You get some footballers who do 0 for 10 games, and you don't get one word of critique, whereas you get someone who'll miss one chance, and then suddenly they should be sold and they're rubbish. And he just seems to be a horse a little bit like that. Look, he's clearly got ability. Sounds like connections weren't all that thrilled with his jumping when he actually won at Christmas. Myself and Gary were talking about him on a previous show, and then, he's been comprehensively thumped. It's not like he's, jumped the last and something's gone wrong and you could say, he got a bit unlucky there. I mean, Kay Doherty's beating him out of the park. Western Fold's absolutely thumped him. I said the English Challenge, I think Wendigo's a Dowers there who could be in there. You start going through it. You've got a lot of horses in opposition. He's not only got to turn around the form of the ones that stuffed him last time out, he's going to have a new wave of challenges as well. I think he's an abysmal price. I really do. And going into last year's festival, he just seemed to paddle, didn't he? When you can argue the raw form in a sense, he's New Line is champion hurdle favourite, but the yellow clay got him in all sorts of tangles, and yellow clay was 40-1 poke to win the stayers and probably go down the handicap route. I just think he's overrated, and so I'm amazed he's still market leader.
Okay. That's the bankers and blowouts looked at for the festival. We're going to, before we have a quick look at this weekend's action, I want your festival long shots with a quick explanation. One apiece, just the one. So we're a bit pushed for time. Ed, you first.
Pat's got my number one, so I've switched. I'm Hello Neighbour County Hurdle, Gavin Cromwell. Horse, if you go back to last year Triumph Hurdle, he jumped the last right up sides Lalamba, East India Dock and Poneros. Made an absolute mess of the hurdle and weakened in the fifth. Since then, I think was beaten 3 lengths by Lalamba at Punchestown. Now, again, I just thought you always got to get inside the mind of the trainer, haven't you? Gavin Cromwell was saying back in his autumn bulletins that he doesn't think Hello Neighbour could probably bridge the gap to be a champion hurdle horse, so we'll work back for the county. So as soon as I heard that was music to my ears. Ran okay, as could be expected behind Lossiemouth and Brighter Days Ahead at Christmas. Then on the handicap debut at the DRF in very soft ground, was ridden very sympathetically, would be the phrase I'd use. Look, he's going to get a £3 or £4 Team GB tax, isn't he? He's going to be circa 150, which is going to put him near the top weight for the county hurdle, but he'll be tackling inferior opposition rather than trying to take on horses like Lalamba and Lossiemouth, etc. He's going to find this substantially easier. He's got good calls for him. If he pinged the last in the Triumph Hurdle, he would have been far. I think he probably would have placed, in truth. So, Hello Neighbour, I think he's 25-1. Gavin Cromwell confirms he runs. He's a strong traveller. He's still unexposed. I really like his chances.
Gary, can we restrict you to one long shot fancy for the festival?
Of course. I'm going to side with... Here will we go with Navajo Indy. Now, there's 2 entries here. Martin Pipe County Hurdle. I don't think you get into County Hurdle off the rating. But I think just have a look in the market. Not coming from Sexy Connections. So she's got to fly under the radar here. I think it's one of the best handicap horses in training. Last season, it was a big eye catcher. Going off at 2 miles, getting out pace, staying on strongly. Stepped up a distance, forced out in this season at Cheltenham. She split French Ship and Bowen's on Fire. Both have gone up the guts, so nearly 2 stone, 18 pounds, 17 pounds. Bit of daylight back to the fourth on that occasion. Market 132. It didn't stay in Haydock over the 3 miles, so it's dropping down in trip here. They've sat on the mark since then. Good record fresh. So it's none or no bet with 365 backing for boat races. And as I said, County Hurdle be preference, but we'll settle for a Martin Pipe win instead if he doesn't get in there.
So that's Navajo Indy for Tom Simons. Pat, your festival long shot, which is sort of also it.
Yeah, we should be coupled for PMU purposes on this one. Sober Glory in the open race, the Supreme Hurdle. How is he 16-1 with what he's achieved on his CV? He's had the one blip at Sandown. The bumper form was excellent. He's won twice since the Sandown blip by wide margins in good times. He's a very, very good horse. And if someone said to me, go on then, why is he 16-1? I would struggle to tell you, because to me, he should be a single figure price. I think the Supreme is a lot more open than the betting would suggest. I don't think Old Park Star should be around 2-1 and Sober Glory 16-1. I would have them much closer in betting. And I think he's a terrific price. For some reason, the more he wins, the more under the radar he goes. So I think he's one of those horses. I could see the tipping lines all lashing onto him on the day and going off at a single figure price. Whether he's fast enough, whether the ground's soft enough, remains to be seen. But if you like backing horses that you know are going to be half the price, he's your boy.
Yeah, front runner on heavy ground. He might take some reeling in the Supreme. But that's Sober Glory. So there's the festival long shots. This weekend, Saturday, we've got the Grade 1 Ascot Chase. John Bon against Pic D'Orhy. Reynoldstown Novice Chase, usually a good pointers to the Brown Advisory. We've got the Haydock Rendlesham Hurdle. and the Grand National Trial. Goran Park, we got the Red Mills Chase. And then on Sunday, a couple of listed contests at Punchestown. Pat, any money flying about for the weekend, and what do you fancy?
It's been relatively quiet at the moment. I think we're all in non-run and no-bet mode for the festival, but looking forward to John Bond Pictori. You know where you're going to find Pictori. He's going to be out there testing John Bond's stamina. I don't think the stamina is going to be an issue for John Bond, who should win, I think. My eye's drawn to Haydock, really. I do like in the Grand National Trial, Deafening Silence of the Skeltons. She was third to Haiti Kalor in the Welsh National. I think she's only up a pound or two for that, and she has been well supported for that, so she'll go a favourite for that. Slightly surprised there's no Irish runner in that, because if you do win that race and go on to win the Aintree Grand National, you get $500,000. I do suspect that whatever wins won't get in the race anyway, but nevertheless, I did think maybe the likes of Willie Mullins or Gordon Elliott might have thrown their hat into the ring, but they haven't, and it's all to play for Dan Skelton's mare.
Gary, what do you like this weekend?
Going to Haydock, 240. I was at the Haydock Park Albert Bartlett Prestige Novice Hurdle. Going to take a swing with Legendary Luke for Jamie Snowden. Just a nice progressive young horse. Stepping up to 3 miles for the first time. I think that'll bring out a decent amount of improvement. Looks like he's crying out for this sort of trip. Double figure price. He'll do for me this weekend.
And Ed, finally, which horse are you most interested in?
I was just say interesting. Gary mentioned that. I think he's from the family of Native River, off the top of my head, Legendary Luke. So he should really thrive going up to 3 miles. I'm in the race before at Haydock. Now, mentioned the Stayers Hurdle. I've got an absolutely zany one in here, ladies and gents, from Philip Hobbs and Johnson White. There's another horse Gary's mentioned. Now, French Ship steps up to 3 miles here. I've just seen Philip Hobbs interviewed by Mike Cattermole on Sky. He's inferring it's winning you're in for the Stayers if he wins the Rendlesham. He steps up to 3 miles for the first time. He must be a big old price. I've mentioned the Stayers Hurdle. There aren't that many horses outside the top 3 or 4. So if something puts their name in the hat, the connections are going to have a crack, essentially, is what I'm saying. So he's up to 3 miles for the first time. The Lanzarote was all wrong. Almost good to firm ground, tight right-handed track. He hated it. Previously to that, looked really smart at Newbury. He's got good Cheltenham form as well. I think 3 miles soft ground, more of a galloping test is really going to suit. So yeah, French Ship this weekend. He's only got a tiny bit to find on ratings. If Cabral de Matan does run, he gets weight from him as well. So I think he's bang there. He's really interesting. He's thoroughly unexposed, classy mover, and then naturally, I don't think he's the daftest bet in the world for the Stayers at 66-1. Because I said if he wins the Rendlesham, he's a 12-1 poke on the back of that or something. So, but French Ship this weekend, there's a lot of horses who are exposed. He is not.
Yeah, and just noting that in October he beat a certain Navajo Indian.
Yeah, it all ties together, doesn't it?
Could be a good form line.
We don't just make it
Great
up,
stuff.
Rory.
Well, thank you very much. Well, sorry.
We don't just make it up as we go along, you know.
Exactly. It all comes together. Well, that's it for Not Long Now, in association with Bet365, the home of the position payout, and now non-runner, no bet for the Cheltenham Festival. My thanks to Ed Quigley, Gary Connolly, and Pat Cooney. Thanks for your company. I'm Rory Jiwani. Good luck with your bets, and we'll see you next week.
Relentless, remorseless, and pounding Corso Star into submission.